All right, welcome back to Bayou Time. General topics now. We appreciate Mr. Claudia coming on board and bringing us up to speed. We were on 2 hours live during the rainfall today, and certainly we don't mind doing it. We don't like doing it, but we don't mind doing it to bring you the events as they take place. And certainly 8 inches to 11 inches of rain in a short period of time is nothing to sneeze at. So it came down, but from what I'm hearing, it doesn't mean some people didn't experience water. But on a rain event of this magnitude, a lot of things had to go right because a tremendous amount of things didn't go wrong, if you hear me loud and clear. But if you had water in any business or any home, naturally, 1 inch of water, 2 inches of water, it's still water. And you heard the parish president, things are being assessed, and they're trying to continue to move forward to make the whole pump system in the whole parish a better facility. And that does take time and money, no doubt about it. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. I don't normally get into the national case of Casey Anthony too much, but I got to tell you, I took my first vacation, extended vacation in 20-something years a couple of weeks ago, and there were no TVs where we were. There were no communication, and we were actually out on a boat on an island, and we heard people who were listening to radios screaming at the verdict of Casey Anthony. Now, I followed the case. I've listened to the onslaught on the jury and everything else that's going on after that. So if you want to make a comment about that or touch upon it, she got out of jail. What's your thoughts on that? 879-1231. Do you think she's going to have a problem getting accepted back into society? 2, do you think she's going to live in the United States? 3, do you think she's going to ever have a normal life again? 4, do you think she did it? And 5, whatever else you want to talk about on that case, you can certainly, put your thoughts on that. While we're taking calls at 879-1231, this from Sheriff Mike Wagaspack of Assumption Parish. Here we go. Just hand it to me. You know the push we made on synthetic marijuana here at HTV? It was outlawed on July 15th, which was Friday. Well, in Labadeville, on Friday, July 15th, 2011, narcotics agents with the Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office visited several convenience stores and tobacco outlets throughout Assumption Parish in an effort to warn store owners that Governor Bobby Jindal has signed into law a bill criminalizing bath salts and synthetic marijuana. House Bill 12 by Representative Ricky Template criminalizes base chemical groups of synthetic cannabinoids and cathinones and any manipulation or addition to these base compounds. The synthetic marijuana is being labeled as potpourri. With respect to bath salts, many have been sold in stores under the names Ivory Wave, Ocean, Charge Plus, White Lightning, Scarface, Hurricane Charlie, Red Dove, Cloud 9, White Dove, and others. Narcotics officers provided store owners with copies of the legislation which went into effect on Friday, July 15, 2011. As well, agents also made inquiry as whether they had any inventory which included such banned substances. 2 convenience stores in the Labadeville area who had recently pulled the inventory from their shelves voluntarily gave agents their remaining inventory of synthetic marijuana labeled as potpourri. Agents confiscated a total of 343 packs of synthetic marijuana, which totaled approximately 460.5 grams. This inventory will be held for safekeeping and eventually destroyed once a court order is obtained. If you have any questions concerning this recently passed legislation, or have any information concerning the sale of these banned substances, call the Sheriff's Office at 369-7281. That's from Sheriff Mike Wagerspack. So, there you see it. Something that started on the desk of Bayou Time ends up being outlawed, and a sheriff has taken a proactive approach and not waiting, went out and gave them a chance to pony it up, and they did. But there you have it. So now the warnings have been fired. The law has been passed. Marijuana, synthetic marijuana, and bath salts are illegal. So next time we go in the stores with our cameras to see if you're selling it, guess what? Your store can be seized by the law. So you can't use the excuse anymore that it's not illegal. Your store can be seized, and you can lose it, and you can be arrested. Simple as that. Back to the phone lines. HTV, welcome to the program. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Martin, how you doing?
Good. How you doing tonight?
Good, sir. Just want to talk about the drainage issues that everybody's been complaining about.
All right. Okay, go ahead.
We're kind of creating all these problems ourselves, with all the forced drainage we got going on in the parish, with all the new buildings going up, the new roads going in. The water's got to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can't build a new road without having any kind of drainage there. So we're forcing this water through these drains into other areas that are already, inundated with water. The bayous, neighborhoods, and, when the bayous fill up, your drainage starts backing up on you.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of hurting ourselves with all this growth going on. We got trees going down. Take MLK Boulevard, for instance. I've seen half that area used to be all wooded.
Mm-hmm.
And with all them trees going down, the absorption rate of water is not there anymore. You're talking a tree can absorb as tens of thousands of gallons of water.
Good point. And I think that's why the reservoir. I just sold the parish some land behind the Concord area, by the Dularge Bridge, and gave them a great deal. You'll see that. But the reason that the parish is trying to buy land in areas, not just that area, all other areas, because they want to build these reservoirs. And I agree with the reservoir system, because I agree with your theory. The trees aren't there anymore to suck up the water. So you got to create some holding base where the water can go. You keep the reservoirs sort of pump dry. When it rains, the water fills up the reservoirs. That pump is still working on the side of it, giving it time to catch up. So that's why Lowe's, Home Depot, and all these other areas, when they're building now, are forced to have to build a reservoir behind it for exactly the reason you're talking about.
Yeah, and I just think that I don't know who's doing all this, the planners with the parish or whatever. They need to really think about this, and not just about the money. It's not all about the dollar. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You have people living in the area that's been there for years and years and years, and they're not going to sell their place and go just because somebody decides to build a business or whatever, and it's forcing that water into their neighborhood now.
Well, let me say this. Let's pick I think you make a great point, but let me play the devil's advocate a little bit. Let's say Butte Street area. I've been on the desk for 26 years now, and I can always recall, even when Jerry Gautreaux was still alive with the Bayou Cane Volunteer Fire Department, and the floods would come, when Teddy Dewey was in office, when Mayor Lyons was in office. I always covered that area. So 7 parish presidents later, we're still talking about flooding in the same areas that we talked about, one after the other, after the other, after the other. So I'm not saying that it's always good to go to a resident and say, all right, we'll give you $100,000 for your house. Would you move? We're going to tear it down and make a reservoir. But if you're a resident in that area, at least now you have an option. At least now you can say, look, I've had enough of this flooding. I know it's not going to be fixed, because the whole system is aimed right at us. They can't get around it. So I'm going to take my money and I'm going to move. Or you can say, I'm going to gut it out. I've been living here my whole life. I'm not leaving, and I'm just going to take it as it comes. But to me, at least now, there is an option.
Right, and the reason why I'm bringing all this up is because it's getting worse. And for people that live here, you know, I was driving through on Bayou, and then they had a guy actually taking pictures. The Bayou was so high. I don't know if he was a tourist or what, but he was taking pictures of the water. It was, you know, just coming over the side. I said, man, look at this, you know. But you know, I'm bringing all this up, and I just want some people to really start thinking about this because the situation is getting worse. Since they started building up MLK, and they're forcing all this water into other areas of the parish, you can really see it now, you know.
Well, I think codes have been increased, and I know for a fact that when you build now in Terrebonne Parish, that you have to, I mean, they're really strict on the amount of land surface you have according to your building, because they want to make sure the water runoff has the capacity to run off properly. The only, you know, the big catch that I see between government and private enterprise is, as a parish president, you certainly don't want to stop growth in your parish. So you don't want to tell people, okay, you can't build because we don't have the capacity to take care of you. At the same time, the catch-22 is that you got to find that capacity somewhere. So one of the ways that the parish president was talking about doing it is go with some of these monies that have been provided and at least offer people a chance to move out of an area that could be problematic, but they don't have to do it. You know, he's not going to expropriate their land, is what he said tonight on TV.
I'm going to say one more thing, then I'm going to let you go.
Okay.
All I wish is, before they go in, and I'm not saying stop growth anywhere.
Okay.
Just reevaluate the situation. Make sure you have all the resources there, you know, to get all this water safely out or into another area. You just don't build there and then think about the drainage later when it's too late.
Yeah, point well taken. No doubt about it.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
All right, thank you for calling. We appreciate it. Do have to take a break. Coming right back to the phone lines. Don't go away. We'll be right back on Bayou Time.